Your mind runs like a governor, not a goal. And the moment that your trading gets way ahead of yourself, way ahead of what you believe that you are, this governor is going to pull you right back to where it thinks you belong. And I must state this, it thinks that you belong. Now, that's not a ceiling problem. It's not a strategy problem. It's an identity problem. And you'll hear me speak about identity a lot because I feel that that is the underlying real truth around trading. It's not about prop firm payouts, even though that's the goal, or personal capital. It's not about the strategy or holy grail and all these things that you see everywhere. It's an identity problem. And that's why so many people struggle with trading, including myself at times. If you're in my community or you're in anything around me, you will know that I still have obstacles. And this is down to a frequency. Now, a frequency is how we work on a day-to-day basis, the reality that we're in now and the reality that we want to achieve. And our body is built on frequency. We are all built on energy, spiritual connection, and how we speak to ourselves and the things we say, the things we don't do, the actions we take. And this is all to do with our frequency. Now, when it comes to frequency, there are four main characteristics in that frequency. Now, before I go into those four main characteristics, the frequency, for those who don't really understand, is your old version of yourself, the version where you may be right now, but you are trying to get a different reality. That is the frequency of your old self. And that frequency will always try and be relevant. That frequency will not allow you to move forward. It will always try and pull you back. That is the governor that I spoke about at the beginning of this video. So when you're trying to get better, break a ceiling, you know, you've seen the video on the oscillation cycles, etc., and things like that. This is going to come in and pull you back in. And it's going to want you to remain comfortable. It's going to want to protect you, but it's actually self-sabotaging your behavior. Now, this could be over procrastinating and doing more work. That is actually self-sabotaging because it's the old version of yourself, and that is your frequency. So what are the four main characteristics? How can they be a problem for you in your trading going forward? Now, first things first, we need to know what they are. So we have needy, we have sadistic, we have scared, and we have reactive. They are the four characteristics of the psychology around frequency, the old version of ourself. So let me start with needy. This is wanting to be in a trade. This is FOMO. This is greed. This is chasing that big red or that green candle. You're looking for some sort of validation for you to be needy. That's what it actually is. You know, if you ever think about in a relationship, if you ever think about the way that you are in life, do you seek validation from the outside world? Are you needy? Do you need things from other people? If you are, this could creep up in your trading. Now, this can feel like when you get a red day, you're also validating that you're not very good. That could be the old version of yourself. So when you say, maybe I can't do this, or maybe I should do this, or I have to do this, these are the types of vocabulary that are going to be getting in your way, and they're needy vocab. They are needy from your old frequency. So when you get a red day, you're kind of confirming that neediness, and you're looking for a validation. So how you get around this is you need to detach yourself from validation. You need to detach yourself from, well, I need to do this because of the outside world might think of this. Also, on the flip side, the other side to that is if your vocab is negative, you are using that negativity to do the things and self-sabotage and enter a trade and enter FOMO because you're getting in your own way, because your old frequency is needing you. So that is something that you must be aware of. If you ever feel that you need to do something, it is the old frequency, especially if it's around validation. Now, the second point of that is sadistic. Now, nobody really talks about this one now because it is the loudest one. And I think this is why people don't really speak about it, because it's the loudest one and people are maybe don't understand that it's happening, or they're embarrassed to actually share this with a lot of people. It is the part of you that punishes yourself after a loss. Now, we've all been down the route in our trading journey where, well, if I lose a trade, I'm going to do 10 press-ups. And if I lose a trade, I'm going to lock my account out. Or if I lose a trade, I'm not going to trade. all these types of things. But what actually happens is a lot of the time is we revenge trade. That's what actually happens. We oversize in a position and it's instant. It is instant. We have the stimuli, we do not think, and it is instant. And that's how we're punishing ourselves. We're punishing ourselves because we're confirming this old behavior. So we don't want to lose. We don't want to get in our own way, but we actually are. So what do? We revenge trade. We oversize because I want to make it back, because we're looking for that validation again, needy from our old frequency. So we're self-sabotaging. Now, you may even move your stop loss because you don't want to lose that trade, or you may even oversize, like I said earlier, and all these types of things. But there is some part of you that you think that you deserve the pain. Now, why is that? Why is that? You've not even sat there and thought that, why am I putting myself through this pain? That is a characteristic of one of the psychological characteristics of your old self. So it may look like discipline. It may look like discipline, but it's the exact opposite of discipline. So keep an eye out and be aware when that sadistic behavior comes in, because that's probably going to be one of the, if not the biggest, but it's definitely one of the biggest problems that you're going to have. Now, number 3 is scared. This is when you start cutting winners when they're in the green. You're scared that the market is going to take the money back away from you. And this is a big problem sometimes that even I have when I maybe put size on a position. Let me change hands because this mic's quite heavy, by the way. And this is something that I can tend to do when I'm trying to scale. I don't want the market to try and take that away from me. So again, it could be cutting the winner the second that it gets into green. It could be moving to break even too early. I still do that. I still tell my students, and I still tell people on the internet, on YouTube, if you're scared, move your entry to break even, because on a psychological level, I'm trying to protect myself. Is that the greatest advice to scale on long term? Probably not, because you really need to be in uncomfortable positions. But these are things that you need to understand you need to do. Now, I don't do it as much as I used to. But if I'm trying to scale, maybe I will do that. I won't do it on my normal size accounts. So keep an eye on that, whether you're fearful of being obviously in the trade. The worst one is when you're not actually pulling the trigger on a clean setup, because the last 2 free trades were losers. That, my friend, is going to cost you, because we don't know what sequence winning or losing trades come in. We don't know what sequence. So you must be aware of that, because if you don't know what sequence, then you could lose 3 in a row and then you could win 4 in a row. So make sure that you don't miss out on trades because you're scared of the prior 2 or 3 trades. Every trade is different. Every trade is different. So do not be scared. These trades are not protecting accounts. Okay, they're protecting your ego. Let me repeat that. They're not protecting your accounts. They're protecting your ego. And the 4th characteristic is reactive. All right. Now, when I talk about being reactive, you're just reacting to what you see on the charts. And you'll see some traders say, go off what you see. But you need some context. You need some analysis. You need something before you make that reactive move. And what I mean by this in this context is you're just responding to a candle. If it goes green, I'm going to jump in. If it goes red, I'm going to jump in. You're just responding to what you see, and then you're chasing a spike, which is normally a liquidity trap. You're flipping your bias from long to short 1 minute. The amount of things that I see on live streams, 1 minute they're long, 1 minute they're short, and they may have a plan for that, but you can't instantly just have a quick plan straight away without doing analysis or having context to price action before that move. Price moved against you for 10 minutes, and all of a sudden you're flipping bias. It just doesn't make sense. So reactive is the complete absence of an actual process. Because if you think about this as a process, it's planned. This video was not just a reactive video. This video that I'm doing right now to get the message across to you was a pre-planned. I needed to know what I'm going to think about. I had my notes on this one, so I gave you as much value as possible. Sometimes I just do it raw, but it was planned. There was a process for me to get this content out to you this week so you have a great week. That's what it actually was. So When you're just randomly going off a new level instantly, I didn't have that level, but now I have that level on my chart, I'm just going to react from there. Or there's no formation. For me, I like shift candle on a free candle formation, or a shift candle from a range to show that the buyers or the sellers are in control. Or you've not stopped and had no patience before this next entry. That is all just noise, my friends. It's all just noise. And you are reacting to that noise. If you're an emotional person, you're going to react to emotions. And we've all been through that stage in our life where we react to emotions. I've done a lot of work, and I'm at a stage in a life where now I don't react to emotions. And I want to break down, and I want to take my time, and I want to study what is the right thing for me to do. And that's how you have to be in your trading. Now, these 4 characteristics are going to be the old version of yourself, like I said earlier, and they will consistently try and bring you back into your old version of yourself, because they don't want you to move forward. Now, here's where it really, really matters. This is why I'm sharing this video with you. None of these 4 are going to be fixed by, a better indicator, or the latest software, or a new strategy, or anything like that. They're just not going to be solved by that. Now, being aware of these is very, very important in life, not just in trading. These indicators and strategies are not going to fix these 4 things. They get fixed by structure. All right? They get fixed by structure, a process, a strict enough process that there's going to be no room left for these needy characteristics, or being scared, or reactive, or sadistic. There's going to be no room in your structure around trading and around your life for this to happen. And when there's no room, those 4 characteristics cannot influence any decisions that you make. Because remember, it's the old frequency, and we're trying to get away from the old frequency. It's the old frequency of why you're watching this video, of why you can't be profitable, of why you're not making any money in trading. It's the old frequency. So we need to make it structure so we can't get in that. We can't allow that to obviously come in. Now, that's what your levels are for, your structure. That's what your candle formations are for. That's what, for me, previous daily high, previous daily low, Asia, core resistant, put support, gamma level 1, high volume levels, free candle formations, simplicity. But there's my structure to stop any neediness, reactive behavior, sadistic behavior, anything like that comes in, scared behavior, into my trading. All right. It's very, very, very important. So we're not here to predict. Someone mentioned the other day, I really want to read the market and predict. I said, reading the market is very, very good, but you don't want to be here to keep trying to predict like Nostradamus or some crystal ball in the future. We don't get no medals for predicting. We want to read and analyze and execute on our edge. The edge that you have created. Now, if you need any help with creating an edge and dealing with the psychological things that come around trading, then there is a link below. Of course, I would love to help as many people as possible, but I can't. And things will be changing in the new year, about 3 to 4 months time. So make sure you get as much value. Book that call with myself, directly with me. And it's a free call, and I'll break down the diagnostics to see where you're struggling in your trading. So make sure you go and do that. If not now, then when you've finished watching this video. So again, make sure the process has strict structure going forward in your trading. Okay. So remember, your governor, which is the old frequency and the old version of yourself, doesn't care how good your strategy is. My strategy is so clean and simple, yet I still struggle to break certain barriers. I'm consistent, but I still struggle. It only cares whether your behavior matches who you believe that you are. You must believe that you are the new version of yourself. You must believe you are a new version of yourself. So let's raise our identity, people. Let's raise our identity, and the ceiling will move with it.